Okay, so we have already reviewed your food diaries, and now we're going to take a look at what's all the information on the food diaries that we need to understand and analyze. The goal of this project is to figure out, are you getting enough nutrients? Is your diet without supplements sufficient? Or do you need to make some changes like probably most people do? So let's take a look at the next assignment. This is the nutrient averages calculations. So we're going to do this manually in a sense, but I've tried to make it a little easier by creating an Excel worksheet for you. And just so you know, if you tell me I don't have Excel, all SMC students do get free access to Office 365. So I have included the link in the assignment. It also shows you how to do that, what you are able to get, what program. So you do have Word, you do have Excel, you do have PowerPoint if you need it for any other classes as well. And there's just some steps to follow on how to install it into your computer. So I've given that in module 0, but it's back again because we're actually going to use Excel for this assignment. So the assignment looks like this. This is the Excel worksheet. And notice all the calculations are done for you. If you aren't familiar with Excel, you really don't need to be because all you have to do is enter the data. So for example, I give an example here for carbohydrates. What were your carbohydrates on day 1? What were your carbohydrates in grams on day 2, day 3? We total them up and then we average them. So the purpose of this is to get a 3-day average, an average of your nutrient intake from the 3 days that I've been reviewing and you tracked. Remember, it's the same 3 days, so we're not doing any more new days. So we want the averages. So every question that I'll ask, like in the next assignment, will say, what was your average for fiber? Well, you're going to look at this table that you created and I graded and verified that it's accurate. Okay, so where do we get these numbers? We're going to get all the data for percent of calories from carbs, fiber, percent of goal for fiber, and I'll show you what that means. How much added sugar did you have? How much total fat? Omega 3s, omega 6s, protein, water, iron, calcium, a couple of vitamins and minerals that I focused on because they are listed as vitamins and minerals of concern in this country. So I want to focus on the few that we're kind of concerned about in this moment. Okay, so this is what the sheet looks like, and you'll have access to it once you install Office into your computer, or if you already have it, that's great. Okay, so here's an example of a food diary. Um, we've already reviewed these, we approved them, we said everything's correct, and now you get to use the data from these. So if I'm looking at one of the questions says percent calories from carbs. Well, in your energy summary area, it shows how many total calories you consumed that day, total calories. And then it's really nice, it breaks it down. What percent of those calories were from protein? What percent were from carbs? And you could see that highlighted in the text box that when I'm hovering over it. Carbs was 39%, fat was 42, and protein 19. So this is the question that I'm asking. Of the calories you consumed, what percent was from each macronutrient? Now, if you go back to chapter 1, we learned about AMDRs. AMDRs are acceptable macronutrient distribution ranges. There's a recommendation of what people should have percent calorie from carbs, what percent calorie from fat. And protein, we usually base it on your body weight. And hopefully you've learned that in chapter 6. So The question and the answer, it would be found in your energy summary section for day 1. And then you would go to day 2, day 3. So the way I would work on this is fill out all the data for day 1 because you have day 1 up, and then fill out all the data for day 2, day 3, and then let Excel do all your calculations for you. Now on the actual assignment, I put the table here just so you have an example of what it's supposed to look like. But it's fine if you use Excel and just save it as a PDF and then upload it to Canvas as your completed assignment. But for if people, for whatever reason, say, I'm not comfortable with Excel, you could do it manually yourself in a Word document or copy the table here. I don't recommend that, but whatever you're comfortable with. Okay, so let's go back to the food diary and I'll show you where to find the other information. So what I basically telling you is don't look at this macronutrient targets for percent calories because that's not what this tells you. This tells you, okay, you as an individual needed 158 grams of carbs and you consumed 131. So that was 83% of your daily goal. That's not the same as how many or what percentage of calories came from carbohydrates. Okay, so two different areas, energy summary versus macronutrient targets. Okay, so here I'm just going to highlight a couple of nutrients that I want you to look at. So for example, water. Water, I asked how many grams of water did you consume on day 1? So right here you would say 449.8 grams. Then there's percent of goal. So this is really low. It says only 17%. Another area I asked was total carbs, and I asked for fiber and percent of goal. So you would write in, I had 22.7 grams of fiber and 91% of my goal. 91 is really good if you think about it. We want 100% for all our nutrients. And if you can get 80 or above, that's really good. So there's still room for improvement, but you're sitting pretty nicely with intake and getting to the point where you're getting enough nutrients from food. One of the questions will ask for total fat, and then it breaks down all the different types of fat: mono, poly, omega 3s, omega 6s, saturated. I do ask for some of these as well. Protein, it breaks down all the amino acids. So if you are interested in specific amino acids, you can take a look at what food is providing you. And then they have a section for your vitamins. How many? You'll notice the units change. Some are micrograms, some are milligrams, but B12, for example, is a microgram, and then it tells you percent of your goal. Remember, 100% is our goal. Notice the red. So one of the questions I ask is sodium. And red says, whoa, you've gone way above what you actually need. You need 100%. You have 221%. So this is day 1, for example. Then I would fill out the data for the second day that I tracked. All the data is here already for you. You're going to do the same thing. And then find your third day and do the same thing. These are the same 3 days I already graded and approved. So do not use new days. Okay, so all that will be done for you. And then once I grade it, we're going to start digging a little deeper into how do we make improvements. Okay? Any questions, feel free to email. Thank you.